All right, so we're about to start our neurographic drawings. We are going to do this together, step by step. So I'll walk you through step one. We'll draw it together. So you do want to keep up and just pay attention to what's going on. So I do have an example here of one of my neurographic drawings, and I just want you to get like a quick look at how it looks, just so you'll have a concept of where we're going with this project. You can see there's some coloring, there's some circles, and then see all these little like curved out intersections. That's a big part of what we're going to do today too. So just take a quick look and then we'll get started. In case you don't have colors, don't worry. Here's one that I started. I didn't actually finish this one because there's some intersections here that are not like curved out. So that's one that I started. All right. So remember, neuro means brain and graphic means drawing. So this is a new art therapy method that we're going to try. I am not an art therapist, but this is just a fun method that if you like it, great. And if you don't like it, well, at least you tried something new and different. And then you can reflect on the experience. All right. So step one is to draw 10 ovals or circles all over your paper, and you can have some overlap. That's totally fine. So I'm going to get started with my pen, and I'm just going to start drawing some ovals. And because this is a therapeutic art method, try not to stress out about, your drawing. Try not to stress out about the process. There's really no right or wrong. Yours does not have to look like mine. All right, I got 4. I'm going to let a couple overlap. There's 5, 6, 7. And I'm trying to spread them out a little bit so that it really fills the page and I have some good composition. 8, 9, and 10. I really like how it just looks like abstract art right now. All right, how's everybody feeling with this right now? If you don't have room for 10, that's okay. You can do less. If you think you need more, go with your gut. Trust yourself. Add more if you think you need more. You can see on the Nearpod, that neurographic drawing has a lot of circles, way more than 10. Okay. So one thing I'll tell you, yeah, you don't have to do 10 if you don't think it's right. Go with your gut. One thing I'll tell you is if you add way lots of lines and circles and you just make it like really busy, it'll take you a really long time to finish. So less is more. Try to keep it kind of simple. Don't add like a ton of detail. Not right now. All right. I'm going to start step 2. If you are not there yet, just kind of pause what you're doing and watch, because step 2 is a little specific in how it's going to go. So pause and watch, and then try it once I am done and I say go. 2, draw at least 3 thoughtful lines across the entire page. Have some overlap and intersect. So what I mean by thoughtful lines is you're going to start at one edge of your paper. It can be any edge, but start off the edge of your paper. And then I want you to let your line kind of just wander around. So I'm letting my hand just kind of wander slowly across the page. And I'm kind of thinking to myself, where do I want this line to go right now? So it's not a random line. I'm really letting my brain connect with my hand and just wander. It's almost like a meditative process because I'm just tapping into my inner mind and just letting it take me where it feels. And then go right off the edge of the page. So just to clarify, a thoughtful line is not a zigzag, because that's like a pattern, right? It's not a wavy line, because that's a pattern too. It's not a line you can do quickly. It's a meandering line. Do you guys know that word, meandering? That's like you wander around with no purpose, just kind of for the sake of wandering in slow and relaxing form. Okay, I've done enough talking about that. So I'm going to say go. You can start your thoughtful line. And I'm going to say you can draw, 2, maybe 3. Try not to add a ton of lines, because the more you add, the more work you're going to create to yourself. I'm going to start another one down here. Your line can go right on top of your ovals. Your line can also go from the top of your page and go down. Okay, I did 3 lines, and I think that's enough. I'm not going to add too much. How's everybody doing with this? I'm going to give you a couple minutes to add some thoughtful lines to really let your brain guide your hand where it wants to go. So as you are drawing your thoughtful lines, I just want to mention that art therapy can be so many different things. There is music therapy, there is visual art therapy. Sometimes they use clay, paint, really anything you can think of. There is also theater therapy, where you have a group of people and you act out certain scenes and emotions, through movement. There's dance therapy. The arts are definitely a powerful source of healing and community building and relaxation. And there's all different levels. Adult coloring books were a big craze just a few years ago because adults needed to do something kind of mindless and creative and relaxing. And so they got coloring books. Um, and that's like a simple form of art therapy. And then what we're doing is like a little more intricate. All right, how's everybody doing? They have some circles on their page. They have some thoughtful lines going across all those circles. All right, even if you're not ready yet, I want you to pause what you're doing and watch me. I'm going to show step 3, which is pretty much the last step of the process, but it's going to be the most time-consuming step. So pause and watch. Let me zoom in a little bit. So in my drawing, there's lots of intersections, places where two lines overlap. And we're gonna look at every one of these intersections and add a little something to it. I'm gonna zoom in even more. Okay, so I'm gonna start with this X that's right here. I'm going to go into this angle. I gotta move my hand out of the way. And I'm gonna actually curve the lines together here. So I took a right angle, a sharp point right here, and I curved it out. And then I'm gonna color in that little section there. So I'm taking something that was sharp and I'm softening it. It's kind of like if anyone's ever had to baby proof the tables and desks and furniture in their house, they get these little plastic or rubber things that make sure the corners are not sharp. So if someone bumps into them, it won't hurt. So I'm taking a right angle that's like a sharp corner and I'm rounding it out. I'm adding a curved line and I'm coloring it in. So I'm going to do that, 4 times for that intersection. So I took what looked like a regular X and I made it into this kind of funny, almost like a star shape. It looks like a 4-pointed star. So the idea behind this step is kind of interesting. The idea is you're looking at harsh thoughts in your mind, and you're just taking the time to kind of smooth out those thoughts and soften them into something that's less stressful or less harsh, less critical. Maybe gives it more flow, builds a new connection, a new way of thinking. So, if you have a good idea of how to round out all of your intersections and corners, you can begin now. You can go. If you want to watch me do it a few more times, keep watching. So, here's another intersection right here, this X. It's a line and a circle. And I'm just going to create like a curved line for each one of the angles in that intersection. And then I'm just going to kind of color in. There are lots of intersections to work on. So this becomes a very repetitive movement. And a lot of times, repetitive movements help us get into a flow, get into a relaxation, and just quiet some of our thoughts. How's everybody doing with this? If you have questions, I want to hear them. So the goal is to try to find every single intersection and add this rounded out process to every intersection on our page. So you can see why I told you not to add a ton of lines and circles, because the more you have on the page, the more of these intersections you have to work on. So I don't want to interrupt your flow, but I do want to check in with everybody. So maybe in like 5 minutes, we'll do a photo check-in, and I just want to see what you have on your page so far. And I can see if there's anything, that we want to share or any questions that come up. So let's do that photo check-in in 5 minutes. So that would be 2:13.